We are here at the Santa Barbara, California Presidio, and we are going to conduct some investigations using cadaver search dogs to detect any possible remains that are going to be believed to be beneath the church grounds.
On September the 6th, 2008, several representatives from the Institute for Canine Forensics met at the Santa Barbara Historic Presidio to assist in the location of graves from the latter part of the 18th century and the early part of the 19th century. The original Presidio chapel was constructed in 1782 when the Presidio was established. This temporary chapel was built of boughs and brush, and its exact location is unknown. We have documentation that 8 burials were placed underneath the floor of the chapel between 1782 and 1787. In 1787, an adobe chapel was constructed, and the reconstructed chapel is on its location. Three teams, each consists of a handler and a dog, searched both inside the chapel and outside the chapel. The first team was Nessie and her handler Eva Cecil. Each team worked individually, and wherever the dog alerted, an X was put on the floor in chalk. Now these dogs are trained so that when they find scent, they sit. It's a very relaxed sort of alert. They don't bark, they don't dig, they just sit, and that indicates to the handler that they have scent. The dogs are not looking for burials, they're looking for scent. And the scent, in this particular instance, is coming up through the broken tiles on the floor. We have documentation of 51 individuals being buried underneath the chapel floor. Which chapel? We don't know. And of course we don't know if those burials still exist underneath the chapel floor. This dog is Rio, and the handler is Adela Morris. All of the dogs were very interested in that one particular area behind the altar. There's some broken tiles, and so scent was coming up in that area. And all the dogs alerted on that and said, yes, we have scent here. I'm talking to Ruth and Norman Caldwell, who have been very active in the trust for the preservation of the historic Presidio. This is the third team that worked the area. This is Tally, and Tally has found some scent. Not really ready to commit to it, but very interested in the scent along the perimeter of the room. All three dogs alerted at this particular area on the floor. Again, there were some broken tiles in this area. That's a very positive alert. Tally is saying there is scent here. There was not a great deal of interest in the back portion of the chapel. The dogs were much more interested in the newer area of the chapel. And again, this is the third dog that's alerted right there behind the railing at the altar.
What happened in the church?
Actually, it was very fast.
Yeah.
She didn't spend any time at all to get her bearings, and she pretty much placed 8 alerts within 10 minutes. That's all.
Nice.
And a couple of them were by the wall. One was where the tile has lifted, and 2 were here in the middle of the floor, and then the last one was under that arch.
The stairwell.
Yeah.
Did she alert any up on the
Stage.
Oh, I know she
That was the first alert that.
Okay.
She was very much interested in sacrifice. She tried to get in and under the furniture, but I didn't discourage her, I didn't encourage her, so she backed off and came out.
What I saw, I think Jack do, Maria do, I don't know, pictures that they all made a beeline for the back door there.
They did.
And I'm guessing because of the door open there, that the wind's taking all the scent.
Depositing it, yeah.
And Rhea did alert on the side of where the wooden platform was. That was the first thing she did. And then she did toward, then I saw the end. Wow. and it's, like I said, you know, where they have loose tiles and cracks, they're going to do. And then what I was going to measure, Rhea, boy, work this and work this and work this, alerted here. And then outside the wall, right about here, she's alerted.
Nancy was more where you're standing, outside, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where it corresponds.
Yeah, I would say that's more like where you're standing. That's when she alerted. I didn't mark it because she lost interest very fast, and it was one of those up in the air.
So what happened, do you think, down in the woods?
The one over the
I
stairs.
only had one between, under the stairs. because she spent a lot of time there. And then she walked up the stairs, and so it's like she was definitely interested. And she checked the loft too. Nothing on the loft.
No burials in the loft?
No burials.
She did lay down under the music stand for just a split second, then popped up and go, what am I doing up here? She flew down the stairs.
They do love agility, so they're like just like. Yeah, but we do. They know how to climb ladders, so it's no big deal. So what did your dog do here, Mr. John?
She had 3 birds.
Yeah.
2 up there in the sides, just below the edge, where there's loose tiles, and loose tile up on the raised area.
Seems like they all like that loose tile on that
Yeah.
side.
Now, she had a lot of areas of interest, but she wasn't willing to commit to alerting. Under where the wood platform was, we actually picked up the wood platform
Yeah.
and let her work underneath it. And,
Jumped all over that too.
Yeah, she learned on the edge.
and she didn't get any specific spot she was willing to alert at. She had a couple of areas in here she sniffed quite a bit.
Yeah, she was working that area where the reburials are.
But she wasn't willing to commit. And down on the center there, under the balcony there, she sniffed for a while, but again wasn't willing to make a commitment. So, I think she just wants to be really sure before she decides on something. She doesn't like to get scolded. That's wrong.
To do, right? Well, there's definitely scent coming up through the floor. There's no doubt about that.
They didn't dedicate the Lincoln Chapel until 1797, and they started construction in 1795. So presumably, it'd be in the entire length, I guess. But so there's a cluster of 3 burials in that year that they were under construction, and there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 that post-date the Lincoln. And we've got. Hey, Leanne, how many are marked up there on that side of the church? From, well, it's all but 1, right? Or all but 2?
Up here?
Everything. So, all the marks are in that post 1795 area except 2.
Oh,
There's only. And it's interesting, I can check this one. This one may be really close to the location of one of the burials that were removed in 68. Just, I know one was right where she's about to lay down. And that's been marked earlier. And that's what
she loves that.
Yeah, that's bona fide there. No pun intended. I was saving that up for weeks. But there's another one kind of in line with it in the center of the church. It's in the that would have been at the altar area, or the back of the original nave, and that's right about in this location. And if you think about it, this would have been the altar area of the first church. Well, I would. You got a couple of 3. You got a 3 for 3 one up there on the altar. That was impressive. Being recent ones, just because they're buried after 1795 doesn't mean they had to be buried up there. They could have still been buried back here, but I think they tended to bury them towards the altars. The job was well done over in Yeah.
Oh, so where did Eva go? I want to talk about what she put outside.
Oh, yeah.
Did you finish outside, Anne? Yeah. Okay.
The dogs also searched outside in the courtyard because we don't know the original area of the first chapel. And there's also an indication that there were 2 cemeteries someplace adjacent to the chapel. addition to the representatives from the Institute for Canine Forensics, there were a lot of media personnel on the premises. There had been a lot of publicity before this event, and people were very interested in what was going to be happening.
Jumped right into the oven.
She jumped in the oven. She did. Well, there could be a fire. You used to be white. Other people did their hair.
Maybe we should do one. Then she jumped up and smelled.
She was posing.
And then
Yeah,
right
at the
there.
bottom.
Actually, she tried, very first time she passed this, she tried to sit down here, but then this is where it was. And then she had four.
Yeah,
One up there.
her other one was right smack on our. That was the mark, and this is where the head remains.
Actually, it was.
It was a little closer. It was actually because you could see where the wet stain was. It was kind of right off the
And
corner.
it was on the wet and she did it twice.
Yeah.
About 1 hour later, she did it again. But I had nothing under
Did Rio kept alerting underneath the cart?
Oh, she did too. Yes. Right
Yeah,
here.
under the cart.
Under the cart.
I have Nessie's alert here.
So the scent is either cooling trapped underneath the cart, or that's where the
Holds more moisture.
Yeah, and they're all alerting underneath the cart.
It stays moist under there because it's in the shade all day, and it's got more grass growing under
Yeah.
it.
So that was a popular. Okay.
Subjective, right?
Oh, if we were going to dig, if he said, okay, we have to dig these graves, I would say, unless they're willing to excavate this whole area, we'd have to wait and try it in the winter when we do have more moisture in the ground. And one of the things that we have done is using traditional archaeological techniques. Sometimes, they use like ground penetrating radar, and they'll like map it, and then we'll work it, not knowing what their results are. And then wow, all of a sudden the GPR showed here a disturbance. The dog's alerted. Now we have two things saying that, gee, maybe we should dig right there.
I mean, you're doing you want a projector, PowerPoint,
Yeah,
right?
PowerPoint project.
And did you guys, you need everything?
I have the
projector?
computer.
You have the computer, okay.
Yeah, everything else we need.
Okay. Well, I'll be here.
Otherwise,
Okay.
we all have around.
The dog searched for several hours on Saturday, and then on Sunday afternoon, Adela Morris gave a presentation concerning the evolution of the historical human remains dogs and their experiences from the previous day's search.
My interest came 23 years ago, and I kept saying, well, that's good, but you know what? We need a dog who specializes in just human remains, because we were getting a lot of law enforcement calls, and we need a dog who's slower. Getting ahead of myself. This is actually one of my dogs who's still alive. She's 15.
That's right.
Yep. Oh, yes, sir.
I learned firsthand because I had a German Shepherd in Italy, and when artillery shells from the Germans would land, if you know anything about that, they leave huge holes, and sometimes the guys not only are killed, but they're buried. And we found out that German Shepherds and the like did a beautiful job of finding them. Of course, those were blown to bits, it didn't matter.
Well, what I love about doing things like this, it's like I'm an expert in my little piece of the puzzle, and I listen to all these people out here, and they have worldly experience, knowledge, ask good questions, and that's what makes this so much fun. It's not just my story, but we're all doing this together. Okay, got disaster dogs right now. Our teammate, our friend is they're waiting for the next hurricane. She does live people only that are trapped. It's a disaster dog. There's dogs that are looking just for people, casualties, dead people after a disaster. And this is where we kind of come in. Our evolution keeps changing. We have the historical human remains detection dog. Oh, question, young man.
Do your dogs not just find humans? Do they on accident maybe find dead bodies?
You know, I didn't plant him, but he's good. He's asking, do our dogs find other things other than humans, like dead bodies? Part of our training process is we bring in animal bones. The dogs learn there's no reward for showing us animal bones. Now, there's still a dog. You know, if we got a dead bunny out there, they're going to go smell it, because to dogs it smells good. I personally, not my favorite, but they're a dog, they're going to smell it. They don't alert on it because there's no reward for it. They only are rewarded for human scent. We worked the Donner camp at Alder Creek, and people, you know, I wish I could come up here and say, yes, right here is George Donner. We found him, but we can't say that. What we did, there was multiple sites where historically they thought the camps were. There was 3 camps at Alder Creek that they had spread out. So we searched all these locations that were historically thought to be the camp. The dogs didn't care. They like searched it like, yeah. Until we got to this part of this big field. The dogs totally changed their body behavior, their noses to the ground, they're intently working, and they're alerting. They're going here, and here, and here, and here. We worked this blind, pretty much. I mean, we knew obviously that they had discovered things. And this is the exact location where the hearth was discovered. They're finding, this is a camp, and they're finding little bits of bones, but they're not finding big human remains. And as far as they can tell, none of the bodies were buried. They were buried in the snow. In the beginning stages of the imprinting, we work all old material because that's establishing our foundation. In this floor of this chapel, there's burials. And this was a common practice. And I'm not going to teach archaeology because that's not my specialty. In '67, 3 burials were discovered. I believe those were outside. Is that correct, Mike?
They were inside.
They were inside. Okay. So they discovered 3 of them, and they were, and you buried them back in...
Inside.
When?
94.
94. So they know where those burials are because he put them in there. Most likely, we know that there were Native American burials close by. You've had history changing things. They've moved things. Things have been destroyed. Things get mixed up, and it's not uncommon for bones to be in other places because burials have been broken into. And we don't know the whole history of what happened to this place. And we pieced together a pretty good picture. So, yeah. Okay, this is what it looks like today. Yes?
There are 51 burials under this floor. How many did your dogs alert?
These people always want to get to the punchline. Hold that thought. This is yesterday. And what's happening here, we have the tile floor, which is fairly porous, and we also have cracks in the floor. Dogs locate scent. They don't necessarily say, the grave is right here, 3 foot down by 6 foot. That's not what they do. They're saying scent here. Now, does that scent come up through a gopher hole, a crack in the tile? Yes. Usually they're fairly close, but they're looking for the scent. So as we have the dogs here, does that mean right behind the podium there's a grave? Maybe. Or maybe it's 2 foot off. It's really hard because we have this floor. I didn't count how many locations. If you walk around, you'll see chalk marks, and there'll be initials. Like right here, because I know my dog alerted right there, right over there. There's
about 12 altogether.
And if there's 2 people very close together, he reburied 3 people together, the dog may only give us 1 alert if they're close by. You know, if they're separated enough, then they're going to give us separate alerts. So our good Bob's going to have some of the words. And also when we're like all done here, the 3 of us will be here, and we're happy to answer questions till we're blue in the face. Okay, you had a question. I made you wait. Go ahead.
Yeah. How often do you work with the dogs? I mean, is it like 3 days a week? I mean, just on average, or do you work them do you try to work them every day? And you know, you said you had an older dog, 15-year-old. Does she or he still like
retired?
Retired. Yeah, but I would assume once they learn how to do it, they're eager to.
So the question is, how often do we train? How do we do this? We're basically, this is our full-time work we do. I didn't say we get paid $80. This is our full-time work. I basically, all of us train together 3 days a week. I also have another day where I'm training dog stuff and obedience. So we're either working or training almost always there. As you can see, Nessie is working. Is that all you put out? Yeah. We are happy to set up photo ops if you want to get a close-up of the dog. Okay. Bob's going to speak to us.
Well, I just want to thank you very much for this. And are there others around that they need to find?
I think she's found them all.
Oh, good. Oh, fantastic. Okay, I want to thank you for this. This is really a first for the trust, and it really was enjoyable this afternoon. Let's all give I think we have a reception out in the front, and Della and her staff will answer some questions. You have a question, Nancy? Who wants to go to work?
I just got to get my word in here anytime. Adela is how you pronounce her name.
I'm sorry, Adela.
Adela is a family name, and it came over from Germany.
Now we know who you're related to. And those chalk marks on the floor that you see are chalk marks that represent some of the early families, important families, Santa Barbara Picos, and Cotas, and people like that. So try not to erase them as you go out. Also, I understand we have chocolate chip cookies and chocolate covered pretzels. Remember that chocolate is dangerous for dogs, so please no feeding of chocolate to the dogs. Okay, thank you. Okay.
The Institute for Canine Forensics would like to thank the Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation, Mr. Michael Imwali, and Dr. Robert Hoover for the opportunity to assist in this important endeavor.